Guten Morgen. Yeah, it is actually morning and the sun is still out. And this is George Lees, who's just had that image banned by Facebook. Yeah, that image is being removed. Let me read the Facebook. Let me tell you who the characters are first. Salomon Meyer, Freiherr von Rothschild, 9th September, born September 1774, died July 1885. And there is his secret lover, that's Maria at the Abbey in the Hollywood movies. Her name is Anna Maria Schicklgruber. Then we've got Alois Schicklgruber, changed last name to Hitler, and that's the son of a Rothschild, and he is Alois, picked for greatness, like Pope Alois Ratzinger, and Jimmy Nail and all the people that are in world history as its fascists. And there is Clara Polzel, Clara Hitler, and there at the top is the massive joke for the families that were Bertie Woosters and George Bush's friends that went to America in 1937 to launch the Fourth Reich there. That is the Betty Grable families that are actually related to Angela Maria Gelly Rabal. Do you get Betty Grable? Gelly Rabal. Yeah, there is, and that's the one with the wonderful shins, and that is the launch of the shin into America. And then the Bushes start sequestering all of the banks, yeah, and doing their business with the massive banking empires that went across and met in Jekyll Island to set up the Fed. Yeah, and that was done in World War II. And all of this was just in the lead up to World War II, and these are Hitler's Rothschild relatives. Okay, so Angela Maria Gelly Rabal, Betty Grable's cover in the comedy that this has become, and there's Adolf Hitler. And there is Herlind Kastner, yeah, July 1928, and she may still be alive. It's amazing. That is the mother of Angela Merkel, and that is the Hitler bloodline. And I believe that Hitler was actually the parent of Angela Merkel, but they've slotted in these two who look much older than Hitler. Yeah, that one was born 1926 and died in September 2011. But all of it tallies with the images that I've now shown of Angela Merkel when she was a young Hitler youth person. Do you get that joke now? Yeah, and that's the reason why Facebook have refused to allow me to launch that into the social media, even though I had several comments on it when I first posted it. Okay, there is the declaration by YouTube at the bottom there. Sorry. There is the declaration by YouTube that this post, yeah, goes against our community standards, so no one else can see it. Isn't that delightful for the company that has so far allowed me to upload everything that YouTube have banned? They must have had a talking to by the powers that be, and that takes me to the next image, which they have published, which is there. And that is, words cannot adequately describe it. There is Miss Merkel, there she is when she was a youngster, and there is Theresa May, and there she is when she was a youngster. So that one is not offensive to anyone, and loads of my friends have already commented on it. She is actually von Brazier of Austria, and I've been telling you that for years now, and no one does anything about it. I've reported this to the Lothian and Borders Police, and I've got the mugshots, and all of it is from the Tavistock centres, that is the tough places, which allows the people like Rothschild to mind control their citizens. And there is a bigger picture in the Tavistock mind control centres in Germania, I presume. The whole of it is written in German. Yeah, so there's nothing offensive about the pictures other than words cannot describe it, and that is just the title. They are Nachwuchs, which means, I thought it was nachos, but that is the offspring of Rothschild. Yeah, and that is not even mentioned. Oh yeah, I think that it is mentioned in the first one. That is the Austrian emperor, that is Salomon, and that is the naming of Alex Salmond. And the world that we live in is totally corrupted, and every one of my Facebook friends that have been whispering that that guy is not reliable, and we've been told that that one's not able to keep the secrets, all of them have switched off their Skype access within 2 minutes of that image being sent to them, and me asking for them to comment on Facebook on their own pages. All of them are plants, and I'm really worried even about Sean Maguire, because he's from Chipping Norton, and that is David Cameron's syndicate, and that is my evil wife, that is almost as evil as the Prime Minister of this country, who's Austrian nobility and war criminal in 1919, and she's now in the cabinet ruling the roost as a relative of the Rothschilds who sired her, and that is the families that are the bloodlines. All of them are interrogated by Tavistock, and there's the picture that the little one has come from, and that is those lot. Many of them were in the pubs, or lookalikes for them, in the pubs last night. And almost all of them have got the piezo facial structure. And none of it surprises me anymore, but it has taken Facebook by surprise this morning. Yeah, it's a Tavistock picture. It's 2018, and now you know the reasons that Merkel has packed up. She's not going to run for office again, and let me show you why that is. I think it's on the second page, and you now know that she was Hitler Youth. You now know that she's pictured with the world leaders on these pages, and you now, oh there she is, sorry, Angela, and she's a Hamit Dunn. Do you get it? Hamit's Titch, yeah, Angela Hamit Dunn Rothschild. Yeah, that is all their bloodlines on Burke's Peerage, and that's all they're prepared to tell us now, since Hannah Mary's husband jumped ship and changed his identity. He is the most difficult person to find on the internet now. Even Brian Cox is a giveaway compared to him. Yeah, it's a massive, and there he was born, she was born in Branau am Inn, elder half-sister of Adolf Hitler, and that is Hitler's birthplace. It's also the place of birth of the Pope, who's been sent into disgrace by the powers that be, because he's related to Hitler, and he's related to Merkel, and he's related to the Rothschilds, and that is why all of them are Nachwuchs. They are all offspring of the world owners that have taken us into every war, yeah, that we've ever experienced. And when you learn from the Tavistock Mind Control Centre who exactly are the Tavistock Mind Control experts, then it gets really quite sinister. So there is on this one, yeah, right at the bottom in the comments field. So there's the ban thing, this post, and they're still sending me messages Toth Attila likes a link you shared on the non-banned one at the top, yet that shows Theresa May. They're prepared to sacrifice her, but the master racers with the words Rothschild in the names, they will not publish it. Okay? Angela Merkel is the biological sister of Theresa May, aka von Brazier of Austria. See post above. But the post below, which has only this comment in, Guten Morgen, Sean P. Maguire, Kate Nival, Gwyneth Paltrow. I found this to be a revealing web page, and there's the URL. Handy hook to Chipping Norton. Angela Merkel is the biological sister of Theresa May, aka von Brazier of Austria. See the post above. Okay, and there is the Tavistock Institute, der BRD Schwindel. Yeah, I wonder what that means, Schwinny. Yeah, the current Deputy Prime Minister in fucking Scotland. Yeah, which has no right to rule itself at all. All of them get £80,000 a year to be fascists with the rabbit ear sign all over the Parliament building and the windmills in the shape of a swastika on the roof of the Parliament. Yeah, which was designed and built by a German company. Yeah, Belfinger bullshit, like the trams, and all of it is a scam. Okay, that's Das Tavistock Institute, der BRD Swindle. So let's have a look at that live. Okay, and there are the pictures of all the English guys that are the traitors in all the wars. Yeah, and it's all in German. But let's show you, that's Dr. John Coleman, yeah, who I've cited on my website in many of my videos. So there is Lord Northcliffe, yeah, of the Tavistock Institute of Human Rights in Wellington House. Do you get it? That is the Rothschilds' business partner still, and that is the writ company that Hannah Mary used to accuse me of harassment for. Yeah, just after she had become a war criminal in Iraq and was laundering out the Lothian 50 proceeds from that war. Arnold Toynbee, Lord Rothermere, keep going down, and then you get the Yankee traitors who launched on Christmas holiday period the Federal Bank in America. Woodrow Wilson of Princeton, and that's Jim Fetzer that has already switched off his connectivity, and I believe that he told me that he went to Princeton, but when I discovered that Woodrow Wilson extended the war by 2 years from there, Jim Fetzer denied that he was a Princeton scholar. Yeah, an academic actually. There are Edward Bernays, Lord Northcliffe, and that is the war and the fighting von den Rothschilds. Yeah, on the Tavistock mind control panels with Woodrow Wilson, the President of America, who scammed the Federal Reserve thing, only allowed 3 people to be in the chamber, and they were unanimous in agreeing that the Fed should be able to become America's banking system, and we were not allowed to know who the founders were and who the directors still are. Yeah? And there's Walter, so Woodrow Wilson is the clever academic that the Time team laugh at in the trenches. We're one day beyond Poppy Sunday. Yeah, and Fetzer made the videos with me, and I was defaming the Bushes and telling him all about the history of their massive corrupted lives, and how they lived in Vesuvius in Maine, and how George Herbert Poppy Bush is descended from Poppaea in ancient Rome, and Jim Fetzer had to cut the 2-hour video down to 1 hour because he said that after we had started making it, that he was going to get a heart bypass operation the following day. Yeah, and all of them are all interlocked on the family trees. He's the PF issues on the family trees for Donald Trump and for Hitler. Okay, and let's now go down and see which of the other aristocracies and presidents and prime ministers are prepared to have opinions. This bit is actually in English. Die Amerikaner, Walter Lippmann, that is the Lipp Biesterfield family, that is Bernhard the fucking Nazi, and he was allowed to carve up the whole of Europe after the war, but he was a Nazi and a supporter of Adolf Hitler in that bloodline that has now been banned for social reasons. Let me repeat the reason that they have banned it. So that one, they've let a sacrificial gesture. Merkel's already resigned. She's not going to run. She's already in her 4th term in office, and that is a tragedy. None of them are elected. All of them are picked for their genealogical greatness, and that, in inverted commas, is being a love child of the Rothschilds. That's the Nachwuchs thing that I talked about the other day. Yeah, and now we understand what it means. That is Rothschild offspring, and that's why Carrie Desiree, on the one that's not been banned, says these people look insane. So there's Merkel, yeah, and there is Theresa May, and the third one I've never heard of before, but I can find her name if there's sufficient time. And there's a massive black cloud come over, as if the assassination teams would come out in the middle of the afternoon to shut me the fuck up. Yeah? And there's a mugshot of James Henry Fetzer, who all of those messages have been sent to. 10 new posts, 63 mutual friends, including the Dietrich women, who are now privy to the secrets in Germany of how the people get trained. But the Dietrichs that are friends of James Henry Fetzer are in America, and it looks as if their city may have a volcano in it, unless it's the top of a massive building. Let's have a wee look. Sorry, I don't know. Let's have a wee look. Oh no, it doesn't show me the top of his image. But on that picture there, what do you think? Caldera? Yeah, it looks like Nadine Rothschild's lovely little straw hat. Yeah, and everywhere God plants those, it's kind of like a premonition that there's going to be a racket underneath this. Dundee's got one, but Ryan Cox has fled back to America, where it might be relatively safe. Okay, so let me now just show you some of the stories that I've learned, and it was an instant ban on that video. I posted it without very much text at all, and I don't know who the director is, and someone's now, oh no, sorry, that's Jim Fetzer. So let's go back and see if they get a change of mind, because this is another war crime. Yeah, and Zuckerberg's already been in inquests. Yeah, and there's my friend Kate Nival. She's now back online after quickly going offline. Sean P. Maguire is online as well. On his Skype system, it said that he was offline. It would be lovely if I could get them to confirm that there is no longer a picture on the front page of Hitler's bloodline. So let's try that. Skyping? Can it be used for emergency calling? And there's the lovely Gwyneth Paltrow with all her clothes on. And she was a recipient too. Now married to a Jewish, I forget what it is, it's Falchuk. Skype cannot be used for emergency calling. It will not let me use it just to talk about how my friends have reacted to the banned things that I sent to them. So this time I cannot get on Skype. Disastrous for world peace. Yet with all the mafia still touring around, grieving, it's 100 years since the war was over. Yeah, and all of them went to foreign countries to celebrate that with massive, pompous speeches as the direct descendants of the butchers that committed all of those wars for profit. So, Rupert Murdoch is hard at work in the cover-up. Right then, so that's going to have to not be a ploy. Yeah, this is the land of the free. Oh no, that's America, Donald. Task Manager. Let's just close Skype. Let's have another go at getting Skype. Remember, Rupert Murdoch, the world-owning person, is the inventor and profiteer from Skype, and he's made a lot of negative decisions on the connectivity that it now gives you. Yeah, you cannot now send videos to your friends to show them what you were talking about in the video you made together. You can only send tiny bits of text now, and all of my old text to the murdered Greg Hallett have been deleted by Rupert Murdoch. And that's not a war crime, but the war crimes that Greg Hallett reported included death threats to the boss at North Korea, who was Syngman Rhee, and that was sent from the Queen of England, and all of it was sent to me in documents that were appended to Rupert Murdoch's Skype, which is why he launched it. Oh, so now when you click on it, it does not activate the software. Okay, so you've seen all of that right in front of your face, and let's now get out of there and get on with the story. I'll show you the pictures of Hitler Youth again, why Angela Merkel is not going to run for the Chancellor's job in Germany again, because she's Hitler's granddaughter, it would seem. Yeah, and there's the confirmation that she is the elder half-sister of Adolf Hitler. Oh no, so that's her mother. She died aged 66 in Hanover in West Germany, and was born in 1883 in Branau, Austria. Married in St. Barbara Cemetery. St. Barbara is the patron saint globally of explosives and munitions. It's a lovely story. And Branau im Inn is the birthplace for Alois Ratzinger's child, that is Pope Benedict, and he was picked for greatness, and all of them are now got their head in the sand, because none of them are going to make the grade. Yeah, all of them are war criminals, and they're massive financial thieves against the people that are their citizens. Yeah, and that's my Facebook friends may not be citizens, they are just the intel plants. Yeah, and it is really sad that everything is run that way including your marriages. And there is the swastika. And there are the Austrian Hitler's confidants, that is Hamitz Angela Franziska Joanna, born Branau in Austria, the second child of Alois Hitler Sr. and his second wife, Franziska Matzelberger. Angela's mother died the following year in Ranshofen, and her brother Alois Hitler Jr. were brought up by their father and his third wife, Clara Polzo. Jack families in my hometown. And that is the lookalikes in the children of Puzzle Jack. Puzzle Jack was my mentor in the fishing world, and it's completely unbelievable that the whole of my friends base have been sent into my life not to be my friends but my deserters. And my only friend is staring me in the eye. Thank you for that. And there, born 6 years and a half, Paula Hitler. And there is Mein Kampf and everything that he wrote. It's the same for Winston Churchill. He's his cousin. And he's the father of the Queen of England, who was not yet on the throne, because all of them have dodgy ancestry, and all of them are children or grandchildren of Rothschild, like the story that has been banned here. So there are the Rabals, and that is the, turns out, in the Shin, that is the takeover by Germany of America, that becomes Betty Grable, because it's Gelly Rabal in the Hitler tree. Let me take you back to Facebook, because the Hitler tree there is much more telling. There it is. And there are the people. Salomon Meyer Freiherr von Rothschild, 1774 to 1855, the launch of Alex Salomond. Anna Maria Schickelgruber, 1795 to 1847. Do you get Maria at the Abbey in Vienna? Alois Schickelgruber changed last name to Hitler, 1837. That is Alois, which is the A. Louis dynasty of Bourbon. Thank you for telling me that, Alistair Brooks of the Ednam House Hotel, which is now belongs, after a period in the hands of Krupps, the munitions factory in Germany, it's now in the hands of one of the big four auditing firms, and that is all the lie that it belongs to the Church of Scotland now. And Alistair Brooks was in Colditz, like all of the world's double agents, and the Woosters, and everything that moves for profit into the safe zones and the no bombing zones all over the world that they create for the leadership team. There is Clara Polzo, Clara Hitler, born 1860, died 1907, and there is Angela, Angelica Maria Gelly Rabal, which when the Bushes go to America, that is the Rabals are still in the tree, but they then become Betty Grable, with the best shins in world history in Hollywood, which is the naming of Holyrood Parliament for Scotland, with the swastikas all over the roof, and the bunny sign being the SNP symbol for the rabbits of Macedonia that have been in charge of the world's owning bloodlines since Alexander the Great dropped down dead at 32 or 33, I can't remember which one it is. And he's still mummified in Egypt so that they can bring him back, like all of the Hitler body doubles that panicked when I said to them, "Have you had a good day, son?" And he ran out of the pub. in his Nazi brown uniform with his little tash like he's got on there. And there is the Kasners that are the parents of her. And I've been telling you that story for ages, which is why she's now told us that she's going to resign. And she's just like, yeah, the Jack woman in Kelso. I will not tell you what her first name is. Yeah. And she was a school teacher, and all of them are lovely, lovely people. Yeah. And I hope they would not launch another war for profit. But they're nowhere up the power base, and they would just get lined up and shot when the real people that sire the people in the back room, yeah, like Maria at the Abbey, yeah, Miss Schickelgruber, yeah, Anna Maria S. Chick Ulgruber, yeah, and that is the Alois person, changed his last name to Hitler, but he's actually Alois Rothschild. Yeah, lovely, lovely, top secret story. Adolf Hitler, his first wife was Maria Gelly Rabal, yeah, is 1908 to 1931, and Hitler, is alleged to have died in 1945, which is maybe why the guy panicked and ran out the pub. And there are Horst Kasner, 1926 to 2011, and Herlind Kasner, who's still alive. And I don't know whether or not she wears knickers when she's out of the back room entertaining the troops in all of the armies all over the world, because this is the scam that has enslaved America and Britain since the German royals, George I, George II, and mad George III, were launched into the massacres and into the Shin, so that all of the Scotsmen could be killed at Culloden. Yeah, and that is 1715, when the Shin project ended, allegedly. But I've got all the things that made the sun come out again about the Bush family and all the corporates that they launch when they get into America. With Tyson, and he was arrested and interned for the whole of his time, right through that war. He lived in safety in America's jails, having founded the banks for these bastards. Which is why I'm accused of, this post goes against our community standards, so no one else can see it. And yeah, because there's a Rothschild on the fucking thing, and there are the Tavistock things with the Prime Minister and all the sacrificial victims that are also Rothschild offsprings, which is why Theresa May has been picked, not elected, to be their preferred leader. I think we'll stop on that. Yeah, and they've let me publish that one. And I've had no other visits from it since everybody was told to shut the fuck up on Skype and not let me talk to them on Facebook. So Kate Nival appears online now. We could try and see. Facebook usually are more gentle with their customers. They do not ban things, yeah, without thinking about it. Yeah, and what YouTube have been doing is to post my most potent videos on Pope Francis's visit to this country as a Jesuit person. Yeah, that's the church, that's the followers of Jesus, yeah, that are the Jesuits, and they have massive links to the launch of the Bush family and the Episcopalian Church. Yeah, and all of it is right through the stories I've been learning this morning. And I've gotten a row for spelling Natchwooks wrongly by not by the Atkinson actors, but by Tommy Atkins. Right then, and there is the picture, and there is the "it's not spam," and there's the picture of the Duke of Westminster, who's maybe my mate Ken, and has got much lower taxes now since he was passed on in Rupert Murdoch's news. So, I'm allowed to talk about Lord Vestey, Master of the Horse, selling Scotland to the Crown with ordered director numbers for the war criminals in Iraq, yeah, but I'm not allowed to talk about Hitler's ancestry because there's a Rothschild in the story. And there's the Hinnegans that are the same joke as and there's the Schroders from Germany now. So I could get Kate Nival and ask her, let's try and just see if they've left Facebook chat intact. So she was talking to me even the night I got jailed in Hawick. And that is German Hawick, with all the massive links to blind Prince George of Cumbria and Teviotdale. And Teviotdale was flooded, and Hawick was the victim of that. Yeah, and I now understand all of it, and the links to von Rennick of Austria. And my favourite rugby players. Right then, let's see if we can get Kate and see if she can see on my wall whether or not my images of Adolf Hitler and Salomon Meyer, Freiherr von Rothschild, are still allowed, or whether or not, so no one else can see it because it's against our community standards. Ringing, but there's no sound. Oh, we'll just try a telephone call without my picture. End call. Redial. Oh, look at that. So this is the woman I talked to the night I got arrested forcibly and taken on a G4S van to jail in Hawick, and I was woken up every hour so that they could tell me that I had the right to commit suicide, and then I would be no longer a menace to the community that is the mafia. She's not going to be in. Let's try Sean P. Maguire. I'm not sure if he's online. So Kate's online, and all of them have been actually shut down their websites. Rebecca Stronmeyer's a typical one. Yeah, even her image has changed. She was married to the MP for Blackpool, and she is the daughter of the man who relaunched the business entities for Rothschild in Berlin. Yeah, and all of it is a massive scam, and there are the family members that are against Zuckerberg's community standards. And Zuckerberg is in the Bill Gates tree, and they are the Gottheims of the death camps in, I think it's Nikolsburg. I can't remember. That's Bill Gates and the little goat herd in the Sound of Music film, with Maria being Schicklgruber, yeah, and she is perfectly happy with her captain in the Nazi team because he's trained to be an admiral in the navy for Austria, which is totally fucking landlocked. Yeah, and there's Angela Merkel, yeah, and she was born in, let me have another look at it. 17th of July 1954. Yeah, and she will not be ovulating now, but fuck knows who her children are. Yeah, and let me show you the pictures on this profile of her and her there's Leo Rabal, there are Hitler, and the Hamitz Angela Francisca Joanna linkages, but that's not the one which has got the wow, Natchooks. There she is. Yeah, all of it has been published before, and she knows that I know exactly what she's done, which is why she's not going to run again. I can't suss out why Zuckerberg has gone war criminal, but he has. Maybe it's just one of his second in commands, yeah, and they might get an act of God because of that. Okay, and there are the world leaders, all of whom are Natchooks. And there is the biggest mob of the lot, because that's George W. with his head in his fucking hands. Yeah? And everything that they have done, yeah, he's the killer of John F. Kennedy. Yeah, in Boston, right next to the place where the Pilgrim Fathers landed, which the Bushes have now claimed for their massive mansion. Yeah? And that is the name of that place, is the Kennedy compound is, I had that open this morning, and it may be open still. Tavistock Institute. So do you get it? That's the mind control centres, yeah, that have picked the people that are all inbreeds of the Rothschilds to become the Prime Minister in this country. Yeah, and I reported all of her story and all of her Lovelace empire of businesses for her barren husband. None of them can have babies. Yeah, which is why the Rothschilds come in every now and again. She's lovely with the massive noses that all of those girls had last night. Yeah. Das Tavistock Institute Deutschland. Yeah, I did not know they had one there. So that's all wars, both sides, and the training of Hitler and Stalin at Tavistock in the West Country, near Devon, which is heaven in their Bible fraud. And that goes right into Branau am Inn on the Innsbruck River Valley, and that is no room at the inn for Jesus. And the sun's gone in, and it was a lovely blue sky this morning. Yeah, and there are Bertolt Brecht's website. Yeah, and there's the P and the F bit that is on Pfeiffer and Trumpf. Yeah, that's Drumpft. Yeah, with the P and I, and all of it leads to the piezo joke that we've told you about again and again and again, because it's got a funny spelling, and the letters can be turned into the letters T. Yeah, that's the joke for the Peso woman too. Yeah, that all of them are from the same families, and it's really dangerous to do things that way, which is why all of them are inbred. There is the Reich and Wilhelm II, who launched the ship that launched the Fed. Do you get it? Everybody went across from Germany in Kaiser Wilhelm II, the ship and then they landed on Jekyll Island, and the banks then belonged to the Germans, not to the Italians, and that's why the Bushes became the presidents, and their family members that are called Koch are now on the Forbes rich list. Yeah, and we could click on that one and see what we get. Reich and Wilhelm. Yeah, that's Kaiser Bill and the hunting lodge in Poland. Yeah, which was the cause of the launch of World War II. And that is the nickname for Aries Piso. And there is the Baltic coast, where all of the oil wealth is, that meant that Hitler changed his mind about invading England and went for Russia and Romania instead. Yeah, and I cannot translate all of that, and the pictures are not contemporary and up to date, so we'll just go back to where we were and look at the Prime Minister, and I'll tell you what the name of the third girl in that picture is. Sorry. And there they all are, like all of them were, in Witherspoon's last evening. And they were quite humorous, and it would be lovely if all of them could just laugh and smile and not be a menace or a death threat to the whole world and its armies. Yeah, there is Dalia Gribuskalta, and that will be the Schicklgruber legacy. And I don't know which is the most evil looking one of the lot, but Angela looks lovely, like my friends in Kelso. And they have nothing to be guilty of. No one can change their ancestry or what they do. They can change their ways, and all of my friends in Kelso that are from those families are lovely, and one of them is quite a brave guy, and I would put loads of my faith in him, even although he works as a slave for the fascist millers of Alnwick. Yeah, and they make videos when they're still alive of how fascist they actually are. Right then, so what else can I show you? So the Tavistock thing, there is Angela Dorothea Kasna, daughter of a pastor, question mark, name of father, question mark, haircut today is then a symbolic, yet she's got a pixie for the Pisos. Do you want to see it again? Yeah, that's the pixie hairdo for the Piso women. And Maria's got a similar one. And there is Angela Maria Gelly Rabal. Yeah, I think we'll stop there now because, oh no, let me get you the pictures of them leading the world. There they are. So there is Cameron of the Chipping Norton set and the Mafia with the Bank of England directors still under his charge, even although he had to resign when I put the heat on him. There is the massive head of the European Union that is Barroso, yeah, and his secretary was Pia for Piso, yeah, Anderkeld was her name, and there is Miss Merkel, who's actually Miss Rothschild, yeah, and I believe that all of them will be, and there is Obama, who's on the massive bloodlines out of America, and they've been published by me many times, and all of them tie up. Harley is one of the English posh names in London that he descends from. He was born and raised in Pearl Harbor in memory of what Roosevelt did there. Yeah, that is taking us to war in World War II. despite their pledge, like Woodrow Wilson, that they would never do that. And then they get the love of a woman, yeah, that's a shag bag Hannah, yeah, and then Woodrow Wilson becomes coercible and he has to then change his mind and be a traitor, yeah, but he is actually trained in mind control at Tavistock. Did we see that? Well, no, let's get the pictures of her when she was in Hitler Youth. Merkel's a stripe, so that's all of the stories about the Wagners, the Warners, and the propagandists. And there is Gretel left and Fanny Brown, Eva and Gretel's mother. Isn't it lovely? Hansel and Gretel and all the fairy tales about the loveliest, most romantic families in the world. Okay, and they will regret diverting my time into a more explicit video, but let me just find you the pictures of the spy who shagged me scams, and there is the man that stole the Bank of England. And let me read out the quotes. Alois Hitler, born to Maria Ann Schicklgruber, maid in Salomon Rothschild's mansion at the time of his conception. Angela Merkel, daughter of Hitler Rothschild. So the Kasners, who look older than her, are popped in as a new part of the story. And there is Nachwuchs, and I'm not sure if I spelt it right. Yeah, but everybody's quite happy to make a contribution to the debate if it is totally meaningless. Hitler, Absetta, Vorn, Attag, 1937, when the Bushes were fleeing as cowards, yeah, that's 2 years before the war, to become the Fourth Reich in America. And that's why he's got his head in his hands, and that's why John F. Kennedy's head is no longer on its shoulders, because he was a good man and wanted to share the collateral gold with all of the people that had it stolen from them in World War II. Right then, so, and there are the new pictures of all of his chauffeurs and all of the regimes, yeah, and these are the hosey lookalikes in Dundee, and they've come and glared at me in Witherspoons, yeah, buried in Munich, right next to Nuremberg. Shrek and Shona's hubby, with the hat on for the pagan priests, yeah, who actually worship the swastika, because that is an icon for the sun god's rays. Totally sick, yeah, and absolutely murderous, entirely for profit. So the one that we can't find is the one on her. Wow, Nachwuchs. So it's on that list there, and let's find it and explain once again the spy who shagged me. Yeah, there she is, as a youngster, Miss Merkel. They say birds of a feather flock together, but here's Merkel with a group of skinheads dating from 1992 or 93, and there she is in her communist uniform, marching with her communist comrades. And she, like Victoria Wood, yeah, all of them are likenesses for the celebrities in England that are released into the story there. And there is Austin, and that is the Spy Who Shagged Me comedy, and all the lookalikes for the folks that are trying to scare me out of this house were in the pub again last night. Yeah, and they did not leave the pub as quickly as the body double for Hitler. Yeah, here's a picture of Merkel in 1986 on an outing to the Baltic island of Rügen. Do you get why they Norwegians committed the massacre on the island, all of it to cover Donald Berwick, yeah, and the Obamacare scam in America, and that is Breivik, the Freemasonic serial killer that was jailed for his killing of 50 socialists. Yeah. So here's a picture of Merkel on 1986 on an outing to the Baltic island of Rügen by members of the DDR version of Hitler Youth, the FDJ or DDR Jugend van der Baans. Sitting near him is little Gelly Merkel. You get it? And she is still quite a young woman, and I look her in the eye every night I see her. She will not speak, and that one is quite a dead ringer for Shona Robinson, and somewhere or other we've got them pictured together. And I think it'll be on here. And Shona never shows in the pubs. There she is when she was a youngster. Hot stuff. And there is Hosey, the lookalike for Hitler's chauffeur. And the cover for my mate Ken, who's a lookalike for the richest man in the UK until Rupert Murdoch had him die. Yeah. And Shona's lovely, but she does not show up now at the concerts. Last time I saw her, she was shopping at Tesco's, which is the Austrian nobility too, and everybody now understands that. Right then, so where is the picture with the pair of them together? Oh. Right then. So I'm less sure about anything that I've learned about the Hosey family. Yeah, and their links to potentially their links to my mate Ken, who's a Hosey. But there is the whole story, and Shona has a lovely pixie too. And she's got kind of boyish looking sideburns, don't you think? I don't think she's old enough to be in that syndicate at that time, but this one is lovely. I'd love her just to smile at me when I smile at her in the pub of an evening. I mean you no harm. It's time to end it, and that one, yeah, Nicola, with the name after the Bible author, and St. Nick, she is totally evil, absolutely evil, and this one was good enough not to poison her patients when she was the health secretary, as Nicola demanded, because they were going to give them statins, and that's why she has resigned, because she's kind of decent person, unlike her, that will give those statins to everybody with hypertension when they get to the age of 60, which is the code number for Arius Piso in the Bible. Yeah, it is absolutely sick, and on it goes. Yeah, and it is absolutely amazing how many of them are involved. Yeah, there is Hitler's chauffeur, and there they all are, looking exactly like the man in the brown suit last night that fled from the pub. And all of the covers for it are always the same. Yeah, and most of them are related to me. Okay, that's of South Africa. Yeah, and my Uncle Gilbert's and my Aunt Ian's alignment with the fascist rich listers. Julius Shrek, Amon Goth, yeah, and what I've posted this morning on the social media, I forget what they've called it and what they've accused me of. This post goes against our community standards so no one else can see it. In Rothschild yellow, in a pyramidal New World Order symbol. I think we'll stop there. And there is Arsenal alongside, and there are the British Royals in inverted commas, and all of the Rothschilds bastards through every great conflict. And I should have shown you the profiles for Tavistock's people. So there's one of them. No, it's only one at a time for this website. Yeah, there's the Pittsburgh, the Pitt banking stories and the Pittsburgh terror, and everybody that's intelligent can rip it all to pieces. But the Rothschilds never get a mention. Tavistock. Sorry, that's the antisocial one. Better not show you it for too long. Let's go to the bottom of this and name the culprits, because many of them are British and all of them are Websters, which is why they've got the Bank of England's web windows on every building that they work in. Yeah, that's the spider's web of globalism, and there are some of their victims. Yeah, because they wanted to tell the truth about Lord McCartney of Liverpool and all of the scams in Japan that meant that they were used as the victims for the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and then at the end of the war with the massacring of millions and millions of people in two of their biggest cities, just to let them know it was us. Okay. So there is Lord Rothmere, Hannah, Arnold Toynbee, Lord Northcliffe's, and the founders of the, there is Königshouse, that's King's House, and S. Peter, that's the son of Pater, that's the Father God joke for John Patterson, and Paterculus on the Piso family bloodline. Yeah, Von den Rothschild, meet denen Lord Northcliffe Durch, and there is Edward Bernays, there is Woodrow Wilson, who extended World War I by 2 years, and that is the joke for the Time Team as they come out of the trenches. Clever professor, and there are the Lippmans, who became the reparations of Biesterfeld, Prince Bernhard the Nazi, and there's the Northcliffes, Harmsworth's Bruder, and that will be the people that are still in charge of the Queen of England's estates that are on the Committee of 30. Yeah, I forget exactly what his name is, but everything that is on the Forbes rich list is covered by several other rich listers that are covers for the real names of the war criminals, Hannah. Yeah, and the Rothschilds never get mentioned, presumably because they do not want to be accused of heinous things like lowering our community standards and the coffins into the war graves. Sorry, I've lost my place again. Okay, let's just get a few of the British aristocrats named and shamed. Das Wellington House, der Lage war, die Offental Meinung zu manipulieren, sowie ne Meinung zu schaffen, von Deutschland, England and then USA. Yeah, that's the Den for the Bush family that created the Fourth Reich there in 1937. And you should see what I've discovered this morning, but I'll make a second video on that. Yeah, that is the Bush-Walker dynasty, and the Walkers, all of them are massive banksters, and that is the Bush Sheriff family tree with all the Worcesters, with the Hancocks, with the Vicar of Dibley in the cast, yeah, and with the Wellingtons, who are Wellesley Wood, yeah, and it's all the usual suspects every time you investigate it. There is the Bruce Lockharts that used to run the massive mansion that I lived in as a lodger when I was a student in Edinburgh. That's the Lockhart Castles. I forget the name of the suburb, but he was a bookie, a bookmaker in Edinburgh, along in the Babington region, which is the earliest Austrian hub in the Alps for the Rothschilds. And the Babenbergs, there is Lord Milner, the rabid fascist, and there is Sidney Reilly. Yeah, and I'm accused of being banned for something that is, I will be really ashamed and sleepless tonight. And there is the P&F story, Donald, yeah, for the drumths and all of the people that are the little drummer boys for the Alpine Master Racer that is the murder of Princess Grace, and that is Bing Crosby of the Alps. Yeah, he's a master racer, which is why he goes to sing with the pair of them sing. I can't remember who the other one is that he goes and rings his doorbell at Christmas, and all of it is the same joke at Christmas, that Jesus never lived. Leon Trotsky and all of the trained in London socialists that get the Tsars in Russia out of the fucking way and into the shallow graves. Yeah, and all of the wealth is then taken over by Rothschild. Yeah. Tsar Nikolaevich Romanov Rothschild, and that's the Romanovs that are the massive now scamsters at Heart of Midlothian Football Club and own the central bank in Lithuania. Leon Trotsky, Lord Edward Grey, that's Earl Grey, and the massive mansion, the massive statue in Newcastle, and he has his statue also in Kelso Library. I don't know whether or not they knew that a citizen of Kelso was going to rip them to bits. There is Vladimir Lenin and the scandal about chucking coins at Lenin, who used to play for Celtic and be the Celtic manager, but now is either the boss at Hearts, where the Romanovs are the criminals, or Hibs, where he's now joined them, and that is the terrible terror that is the chucking of the coins with that fascist woman who's in the Piso family that is actually not able to lay the wreaths anymore because she's a physical coward since she learned that George Herbert Walker Poppybush is descended from Popia like her. Yeah, and there's Lenin and Spatter and Trotsky, 60 million funds and 40 million funds for the Rockefellers, who we discovered the naming of in pious Rome just yesterday. Yeah, President Wilson, einen American passport, yeah, and all of it is the same families. Übergrab, Milner, von den Rothschilds, 60 million pounds with the P and F at the beginning for Donald's family tree, and it was Bing Crosby and the man who sings about outer space who lived this life in Berlin. There's a starman waiting in the skies. Yeah, Bing Crosby and David Bowie of the Alpine tribes, like Hercules Dietrich, yeah, and that is Elton Hercules John, and all of them are rabid fascists, which is why my wife was obligated to work for them in their Watford syndicate. Vladimir Lenin, do you get it? And his massive injuries when the coin struck him on the head. And that is Lord Earl Grey, that is on the statue in Newcastle, where I made many of my most telling videos. And there is the Hercules Dietrich tribe woman that is not a fudge packer, but is a sex maniac, so that the whole of her family tree can produce fascists. She only had one husband. All of the rest of her love life, she had 6 lovers every day, and that allows her to get pregnant by all of the aristocratic lines. Yeah, and no one can know who the father is. Queen Elizabeth and Bill Clinton and the murdered Greg Hallett knew that, and it said not the father under George VI, which is why the Queen of England ordered his murder. And she ordered my sectioning in the same way. I think we'll stop now, because the Dietrich women are still on my Facebook pages, and they might be witnesses in my war crimes issues, because they're quite decent people and are friends of James Henry Fetzer. PF. Right then, so there's the one that we were able to get away with without offending any community standards, and that is the current Chancellor in Germany, and that is her sister, who's the current Prime Minister in Westminster. Yeah, let me show you exactly what the wrinkles under dark eyes look like. Better not play any music, eh? Yeah, Angela Merkel, Theresa May, and Dahlia Gribus-Kalti. Yeah, not any longer the Maria the maid in Salomon Rothschild's shagbag bastards, yeah, so that we can send their children into the war as the leaders of the fascist and Nazi party. And on the other side of the Atlantic, we've got the leaders in the same family. Yeah? And I get terrible guilt all the time as a lapsed Catholic. Yeah, and that is the launch of the first Catholic piety banks, with the Nichols and the Lenses, all of whom are in the Fugitive movie, yeah, and the Rockefellers running the show in ancient Malta and in ancient Belgium. Yeah, and everybody's now worried about Brexit. And Theresa May, the Nazi and the sister of Angela Merkel, is leading the negotiations.